This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, I'll send message to all of you where you can enter your share your mail ID. Okay. Okay. So you can reply that and you can share your Gmail ID there. Okay. Let me, yeah. So welcome to the session SAP CO in S4 HANA training program. Earlier, I used to teach something called integrated training program in CO, CRCO integrated training program. Okay, now as the new version S4 HANA has been released, so I'm calling the same course, I mean upgraded course as CO in S4 HANA. Okay, it is the same like integrated training program. Okay, in CO of S4
Srini,
HANA. Yeah,
is the recording started?
yes.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay, no problem. And okay, let's start with my introduction. So I'm the trainer. So my name is Srinivas Reddy. I have nearly 18 years of experience. Okay. Yeah, in SAP. So in various areas of SAP like ABAP programming. Yeah, can you, give me a second. Yeah, all of you, you can please mute your mic, okay? If anything needs to speak, you can unmute and speak, okay? So it will improve the audio quality and we can avoid any background noise or any such kind, okay? And okay, ABAP programming, FICO consultant and CO consultant. In fact, I started my career as an ABAP programmer. Later, I became a FICO consultant and sometimes I worked as a full-time CO consultant. So during these 18 years, I worked in various domains like airlines, manufacturing, banking, etc. So this is about my experience. And next about the course. So why I named this as integrated training program. And before going further, I'll explain the training approach. I'm not going to use any PowerPoint presentations throughout the course, not even single PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to use Microsoft Word like this to explain the concept. Okay. And yeah, why I name this as integrated training program. We all learned FI. So most of us are working. Some of us are working as FI consultant, and some are even working as CO consultant, and some are even freshers. They did their FI CO course or something like that. So by learning FI, we don't have any problem. When it comes to CO, the problem arises. So what is the reason? The reason is CO is highly integrated with other modules. Highly integrated modules like what? Like FI, SD, MM, PP, PS, HR, etc. That means, for example, if you take COPA takes most of its data from SD module. And take product costing. So product costing takes its data from PP or PS module, something like that. Even HR module also. So this makes SEO a difficult thing to master. And moreover, CO components are highly integrated with each other. So what does it mean? So we have various components in CO like cost center accounting, like internal orders, COPA, uh, profit center accounting, etc. And these components are also integrated with each other. For example, when we learn FI, we don't have any problem. We start with the basic settings, then we go for general ledger, then AP, AR, we master one by one. So they're all connected to a GL one way or other. So it's a very straightforward relationship. But here, these components are highly integrated with each other. That means, like, for example, if you take product costing, so all the activity allocation comes from cost center accounting to product costing. And you do settlement of internal order to cost centers, internal order to COPA, and cost center to COPA. You call it as assessment of cost centers to COPA, like that. So data moves from one component to the other. So the relationship is also very complex between the CO components. So this makes a CO a difficult thing to understand. So this course is going to answer those problems. So why I named this integrated training? So this course is going to cover not just CO. We are going to, it's going to cover FI, SD, MM, PP to the extent we need. For example, we are going to configure SD module, MM and PP modules also, and we are going to maintain the necessary master data, and we are going to enter, enter transactions in them. For example, we are going to create sales order in SD and delivery and billing also done. Then we are going to see how it's been transferred to COPA, something like that. If you take PP module, so we are going to configure PP. We are going to maintain master data like routing, BOM, work center, etc. And we are going to generate production orders, and we are going to do all the transactions for production orders like production order confirmation, etc. And we are going to do all month-end activities of production orders. So then only we can do actual costing process. So not just CO module, we are going to cover other modules as well to the extent we need. That's why it's called it as CO integrated training program. Okay. And about the version, yeah, if you have taken ECC, CO in ECC from me earlier, so some common topics may be there. For example, there are not much changes in allocations, but additional topics, there are additional functionalities introduced in S4 HANA, and also existing functionalities have been changed a lot. Okay. So the like what is new in S4 HANA is not going to work in case of S4 HANA. When we were working in SAP 4.7, when they released the new version, that is ECC, there was not a problem. So they added new functionality like a new GL, something like that. So we just upgraded ourselves to those topics. But here it's not going to be like that in S4 HANA. That's the reason I redesigned the whole course of CO in ECC to CO in S4 HANA. Okay, I changed the order of topics. For example, material ledger is mandatory in S4 HANA. So earlier in ECC, I used to teach that topic in book 2, but now I clubbed that material ledger topic with MM. Okay, so and other things like ledger concept is introduced, is been completely changed. Currency concept is being changed. So except those things like allocations, distribution, periodic reposting, those things are going to work as usual from front end point of view. In back end, small changes are there, like where the data is stored. Those tables have been changed. Okay. So even if you learn ECC from me, so you have to undergo the whole course. Okay, that's what I suggest. And so I'm going to talk about version now. So version is S4 HANA 1809 is the version we are going to use. Okay, and this is complete training will be in S4 HANA. It's not like teaching everything in ECC and teaching what is new in S4 HANA. So the whole training, right from beginning to the end, everything is taught in platform S4 HANA. And wherever changes are there, when we compare it to ECC, those changes are highlighted during the course. Okay, and yeah, next, what are the things we are going to learn here? For example, I said CO components. So what are the components that are going to be covered in this course? So we're going to cover cost center accounting. And before that, yeah, actually is very important. Yeah, else. Ledger concepts. So ledger is a general yeah, excuse me. So generally is a ledger is a general concept, not specific to CO, but it reflects in CO as well. So you need to understand ledger concept if you want to go for CO in ECC, CO in S4 HANA. Okay, things like, for example, these ledgers are reflected in material ledger, and you need to make some settings in the versions and ledger. So something like that. Okay, that's the reason you need to understand this. So we are going to cover ledgers also. Okay, cost center accounting, internal orders, and we're going to cover product costing. We're going to cover COPA, and we are going to cover profit center accounting, etc. Okay, so ledgers. So here in ledger concept, I'm going to explain, yeah, ledgers and concepts, and currencies, because currencies also changed in S4 HANA. So this ledger currency, this is going to have impact on material ledger. So we are going to learn that. And okay, so when it comes to cost center accounting, we are going to cover allocations. So two kinds of allocations are going to be covered: cost allocations as well as activity allocation. Both are going to be covered. So what is allocation? So I'll explain you with the help of an example. For example, I have a cost center called cafeteria. Cafeteria is a cost center which provides subsidized food or free food to the employees. So for example, in our case, we have three cost centers. For example, we are an automobile manufacturing company. So we have other cost centers like body shop, assembling, paint shop, etc. So employees of these cost centers consume the food of cafeteria. So at month end, all the costs that are incurred in cafeteria should be allocated to these three cost centers. So this is called sender cost center or overhead cost center in this case. And these are receivers or production cost centers. So whatever costs that are incurred, for example, here I'm going to record costs like salary of cafeteria, rent of cafeteria, and purchasing food items, whatever. So these costs I'm going to, for example, 18,000, 9,000, 54,000, or 45,000. Okay, whatever. So what is the total? Total is around 72,000. Yeah, here I can allocate cafeteria charges in different ways. For example, I have, yeah, I'll put it like this. I'll match this. Okay, I have two ways I'm going to explain here how we can allocate. One is I can allocate these salaries to body shop, assembling, paint shop separately, rent to these three separately, and purchasing these to these separately. And I can summarize all these. So 18,000 plus 9,000 plus 45,000. The total is 72,000. So this 72,000 I can allocate. Yeah, give me a second. So 72,000 is the total cafeteria charges. So I can allocate salary, rent, purchasing separately to these three receivers, or I can allocate this 72,000 summarily to these three. So I have two options. And what would be the basis of allocation? For example, here, basis of allocation. So here I have, so the employees of these three cost centers consume the food of cafeteria. If more employees are working in a cost center, more cost should be allocated. Okay, so I can allocate on the basis of number of employees. If more employees working in a cost center, more cost should be allocated to that employee. So number of employees or employee, whatever you may call, it is called statistical key figure, SKF. So in SAP terminology. So somewhere we maintain how many employees are working as body shop, how many in assembling, how many in paint shop, and based on that you can allocate costs. So you have two options here. You can allocate based on the primary costs. These three costs are allocated separately, or I can allocate this total 72,000. So if I allocate these to 72,000, I'll create something called secondary cost element. Secondary cost element here I'm going to create is cafeteria charges. Okay, so what is the total cafeteria charges? 72,000. So these cafeteria charges are going to be allocated here. So how? So here it is recorded like this: cafeteria charges minus 27,000 and 27,000 here. I'll just delete the negative symbol here. That means amount is deducted from cafeteria and added to body shop, and it is recorded under the secondary cost element. Okay, and like this, minus 9,000 and minus 36,000. So here this is paint shop. Yeah, I'll delete negative symbol here like this. So here the allocation is recorded under secondary cost element. So what is secondary cost element? You need to understand. Most of you might be knowing that. So cost elements are two types. So cost elements are primary cost elements and secondary cost elements. So here in this case, in this example, salary, rent, purchasing, these are primary cost elements, and cafeteria is secondary cost elements. Cafeteria charges is secondary cost element. So how do you know that? So here these primary cost elements have one-to-one relationship with FI. So you have a salary GL account and you have a salary cost element. You have rent GL account and rent cost element. So purchasing GL account and purchasing cost element. So these primary cost elements have their corresponding P&L accounts. Okay. So here cafeteria charges, we do not have any, as such, we do not have any GL account like cafeteria charges. So this is just a summary of all these primary costs in this case. So that's that is the difference between primary and secondary cost elements. Throughout the course, we are going to use number of primary and secondary cost elements. Okay. So here we don't see in the receivers, we don't see what is salary of cafeteria, what is rent of cafeteria, what is purchase cafeteria. We see the total. So it is meaningful to see the summary, the summary of the primary cost in the sender sometimes like this. Okay. Sometimes you may want to see individual primary cost elements. Okay. In this case, as we are using the allocation using secondary cost element and we are summarizing the sender cost, we call it as assessment. And if you do allocation based on salary, rent and purchasing separately, it will be called distribution or periodic reposting. There is a small difference between distribution and periodic reposting. Okay. So we are going to have a dedicated topic for each kind of each kind of allocation. We have one topic for assessment, one topic for distribution, one topic for periodic reposting, something like that. Okay, so this is called cost assessment, cost allocation. So here, so cost allocations like assessment, distribution, periodic reposting, etc. are going to be covered. These are cost allocations. And there is also something called activity allocation. So yeah, I'll give you one example. For example, yeah, I'll take the same.
Sir, in case cafeteria charges are created as primary cost element, then
Yeah, then you can do distribution or periodic reposting instead of assessment. Yeah, yeah, it is also possible. For example, you record all the costs under, you create a primary cost element called cafeteria charges, you pay rent or whatever, all these things to you record under cafeteria charges. You can do that, but generally we don't do that because, so for example, at the, if you post salary of cafeterias who cafeteria primary cost cafeteria charges, you don't know what would be the salary of complete salaries of your I mean your organization or something like that. Generally we don't do that. So in the sender, we can see all the from cafeteria point of view, you can see all the expenses also. If you create one GL account that is cafeteria charges, it is not possible to analyze costs in cafeteria, right? Yeah, it is possible technically,
yeah.
but from business point of view, it's not uh, right thing to do. Yeah, yeah. So here, yeah, I'll go to next page so that I'll get whole page. Yeah, for example, here I have a cost center called plant maintenance. So plant maintenance is the cost center, and plant maintenance provides services to all these three receiving cost centers: body shop, assembling, paint shop. But I don't find proper allocation method of costs. Okay, or I don't find proper allocation basis here. So what I do? Okay, I'll delete this cost. Yeah, here also delete. Okay, so plant maintenance, we have costs like salary, rent, consumables, etc. So these 72,000, I cannot allocate these costs. I don't find a proper allocation basis to allocate costs here. What I do, I use something called activity allocation. Exact term is activity type. If you come across any word like man hours, machine hours, etc., man days, so you can find the cost of a man hour, man day, etc. So that is in general cost accounting terminology. We call them man days, missioners, whatever we call them, they are called activity types in SAP, or activities in sometimes, whatever. So I may use activity, I may use the term activity or activity type, both are going to be same. So here I use activity type called maintenance hour. So these maintenance hours are allocated from plant maintenance to these receivers, three receivers. And how this activity type is allocated and how it is valuated. There is something called valuation of activity. If there is a maintenance hour, there must be some price for it. So if you know the quantity of activity allocated and if you know the price of the activity, you can convert that to cost. So quantity into price, you will get the cost again. Here what's happening is this cost center plant maintenance is produces some activity quantity in a month, and for that it needs some expenses. So using that method, you can calculate the price. So for example, you assume these as planned expenses of the cost center. So 72,000 is the total planned expenditure of the cost center, and total, okay, planned activity quantity. Planned activity quantity is 720. For easy calculation takes 720 maintenance hour. That means cost center can produce 720 maintenance hour in a month, and it needs 72,000 expenditure in a month to produce 720 maintenance hours. So this is only a planned quantity. So based on this, I can calculate the price. For example, here, activity price. So activity price is calculated using the formula cost center, planned cost center expenditure divided by planned activity quantity. And yeah, this is planned activity price. Yeah, you just replace plan with actual. Actual activity price. Actual cost center expenditure. And actual activity quantity that is produced in a month. Yeah. So if you know this formula, and if you understand the concept of price calculation, yeah, it will be easy in product costing. Yeah, so here, what is I use this formula. So for example, planned price, planned activity price is equal to so what is the cost? I mean expenditure 72,000 divided by 720 is equal to 100 rupees. So 100 rupees is the price of each maintenance hour. Okay, and allocation is recorded. Okay, and we need a secondary cost element called maintenance charges or plant maintenance charges. Yeah, now activity is allocated, not necessarily at one time, but as and when activity is performed. So that is recorded in the center, in the receiving cost center. For example, activity quantity allocated here. 300 maintenance hour. 200 maintenance hours. And 200 maintenance hours again. So as and when some activity is performed, that is recorded. For example, for in a whole month, 300 maintenance hours are allocated to this. That means 300 maintenance hours are performed in this cost center. Yeah, here it is converted, this activity quantity is converted to what? To cost. So we call it as, it is recorded under secondary cost element. Maintenance charges. How much? 300 into 100 rupees. So 100 rupees is the planned price. That means we don't know the actual price. Why we use planned price? Why not actual price? There is a reason for that. For example, we throughout the month we record cost center expenditure even at month end also. That means we don't know the actual expenditure of the cost center until the month end. Okay, so as we know the formula here, actual activity price is equal to actual cost center expenditure divided by actual quantity. Actual quantity also we can only find the actual quantity at month end only. So actual activity price cannot be calculated until the month end. That's the reason we use planned activity price on tentative basis. So here 300 into 100 is equal to 30,000. Two hundred into 100. 200 into 100. And here it is minus 300 quantity and minus 30,000 in the sender. It is recorded like that. And minus 200 in the sender. I'm not entering here. I mean, I'm not showing it here to save the space. But and maintenance charges also minus 20,000 here. Minus 200 and minus 20,000 again here. Okay. So this is initial allocation. So cost is allocated. Cost is activity is validated with planned price initially. Okay. Now at month end, actual expenditure is finalized. So okay, let me copy the whole thing. Okay. Yeah, salary, rent. We don't need to go for individual expenses. Yeah, just assume 81,000 is actual expenditure. Yeah, same activity type and actual activity quantity. How much? 300 plus 200 plus 200. 700 is the actual activity quantity that is produced. And actual activity price is equal to 81,000. 81,000 is the actual expenditure and 700 is the actual quantity. So you can calculate that. 81,000 divided by 700, around 115 point something. So I'll make it round figure. So 115. Yeah. So there happens something called revaluation of consumption. So this is initial allocation and revaluation happens. So revaluation is, okay, what is the variance here? Price variance 15 rupees. So planned price is 100 rupees and actual price is 115 rupees. So variance is 15 rupees. So revaluation will be like this. Maintenance charges 200 into 15. So 3,000 rupees. Yeah, 300 into 15, 4,500. 200 into 15, 3,000. So this is initial allocation, quantity into plan price. Revaluation is quantity into variance. So if you, yeah, this is the process. Initial allocation. Initial allocation is equal to actual quantity into plan price. Okay, and revaluation. Revaluation is equal to actual quantity into variance. Okay, so what is the effective valuation finally? Effective valuation is actual quantity into plan price plus variance. And this is nothing but actual quantity into actual price. Yeah, put it in the next page. So plan price variance, plan price plus variance is nothing but actual price, right? So finally, the actual price is reflected in the allocation. So this is very important. Throughout the course, throughout CO, we are going to use standard prices or planned prices like this. So in SAP, in FI, most of the time, we'll make postings for the quantities that incurs. For example, you pay a salary of 5,000. You make an entry for 5,000. Most of the time, you enter actual values like that. Whatever cost that incurred or whatever revenue you received, you enter that. Except some few things like provisional entries at month end, something like that. So this is a major change when compared to, for example, here. This one's one of the major change. FI CO. So in FI, you make entries for real, let's call it not okay, real amounts. Most of the time, there are some exceptions. For example, provisional entries. For example, when you are generating a balance sheet at month end, you haven't paid salary for that month. Okay, so that salary should be shown under liabilities. So you do something. So you create some GL account called expenses payable or salary payable, something like that, and you make an entry into that, and you show that on your balance sheet. So they're provisional entries. The cost not incurred, but yet we'll show it on the because especially when you don't have invoices or something like that, so you show them as provisional entries, okay, under expenses payable, something like that. Most of the time you enter actual values or real values or amounts, whatever. In CO, most of the time we use something called standard prices or plan prices. So this makes CO a different thing. So here in activity cost, activity allocation, we used prices, plan prices initially. Yeah, it is something like this, plan prices during the month. And at month end, actual price is calculated at month end. Then variance is settled. What is the variance? Variance is the difference between actual price and plan price, or actual price and standard price. So here standard price is generally used for materials, and plan price is generally used for, we call it for activities. So this is throughout the course you follow this method. So if you understand this method, difference between plan prices, actual prices, standard price and actual prices, and settlement of variance, so you're there. So this is very important to understand this concept. Throughout the course or throughout the CO, you have these things. We are going to do number of places. Initially we use standard price because we don't know the actual price at month end. So at month end, actual price is calculated and again the difference is posted. Okay. Yeah. So activity allocation, there are two kinds of activity allocation, direct and indirect. So we are going to have a dedicated topic for each kind of allocation. For direct allocation, direct activity allocation, we have one topic. For indirect activity allocation, we have one topic. So we are going to discuss that in detail. So this activity allocation is important from product costing point of view. Okay. Okay, so this is activity allocation. Okay, what is briefly direct and indirect means? So how this quantity is determined? So if it is somewhere you enter the quantity so and so sender, so and so receiver, that is called direct activity allocation. Instead of that, if something else like statistical figure determines the quantity, then it is indirect activity allocation. So we are going to discuss that in detail in the course. Next is internal orders. So we are going to cover real and statistical internal orders completely, and we are going to see internal order to cost center settlement, and we are going to see internal order to COPA settlement, etc. All these things are going to be covered. Okay, and before going further, so we have one more thing, that is cost element accounting. Okay, so here a lot of changes are there in S4 HANA. Okay, so we're going to see them practically. For example, in S4 HANA, cost element master data and GL account master data has been unified. There is no separate master data for them. For example, you don't have KA01 and KA06 in S4 HANA. They're completely deleted. In FS00 itself, you create cost element. So cost elements are special types of GL accounts. So they introduced a new field called GL account type. So GL account type determines whether it is a cost element or not. Okay. So this is also very important. And why this changes. You know that, for example, it's a general change. There is a field table called Agdoka table, which is a universal general table. Okay, which stores the line items of both CO and FI apart from other components like asset accounting, material ledger, etc. Even even account-based scope also stores its data in Agdoka table. So from that point of view, so a lot of changes are there. So cost element accounting is not a special topic in fact, but cost elements are used throughout the CO. Just like GL account in FI, we have cost elements in CO. Okay, so a lot of changes are there in S4 HANA. We are going to see them in detail. Okay, and general here ledger currencies and also here, okay, currency settings. Okay, and we are going to discuss in detail about Agdoka table, because how line items are generated in S4 HANA, CO of S4 HANA. We are going to see them in detail because all these transactions, allocations, like direct activity allocation, indirect activity allocation, all of them are going to generate line items in Agdoka table. So it's a general change and not specific to CO. From CO point of view, so almost all CO transactions generate line items in Agdoka table. Okay, so ledgers, currencies, all of them are going to, they have their structure. For example, Agdoka, that structure of Agdoka table resembles the ledgers and currency settings. Okay, and it also resembles changes like cost element accounting, because Agdoka table stores line item of GL account as well as cost accounting. Yeah, FI as well as CO, or GL accounting as well as cost accounting, whatever. So how it is possible? Because of this unification of cost element master data and GL account master data. Okay, this is one major change. And also almost all the line item level reports are available. I mean, organizational unit levels are available in FI also. For example, when you're running a report in FI, you can just search down up to the cost centers also, because that information is coming from Agdoka, which is a common table for both FI as well as CO. So it's a major change. And here, when it comes to allocations, a minor change in the front end, like a few more display document, that kind of small changes are there. But from backend point of view, there are changes like where the data is stored for allocations. So all these allocations are recorded in Agdoka table. But front end execution, it everything same. So configuration is also same, like how you create allocation cycles, etc. Next is product costing. So we are going to have various things like, yeah, I will, yeah, give me a second. Yeah, all of you can hear me, right? Vivek, can you hear me? I think I missed your message. Yeah, okay, it's no problem. If not, I will share you the recording.
Sir, this will be the sequence that we have to follow, like cost element accounting, cost center accounting, internal order product costing. Is this the sequence you will be teaching us and we have to follow?
It is not the order, it is the dependency actually. Okay, for
Okay.
example, we follow the order like this. Actually, we make some settings for ledgers, basic settings, controlling area, everything. After that, we'll go for cost center accounting, then internal order, then SD, after that COPA, then some product costing, again COPA, actual costing, COPA again. Okay, so there are dependency issues if
Oh.
you need to understand that. Okay, yeah, at the end of the session, I'm going to explain you. I'm going to show you the book. In that, you'll understand what is the sequence. But here I'm trying to explain you the concept, okay, overall concept of CO. Okay, this is a very important session. It gives you a summary of CO, in fact.
Sure,
Okay,
thank you.
but yeah, for example, see, we learn activity allocations here in cost center accounting, but they're also helpful in product costing. So in actual costing, we are going to do activity allocation, direct activity allocation again. But if you understand concept here, it will be easy there in the topic product costing. Okay, I'm just trying to give you the overall picture of CO, but order may be different while learning. Okay, next is product costing. So we have various subcomponents like product cost planning, and actual costing, material ledger, and cost object controlling, something like this. Yeah, so here product cost planning, we have, what is this product cost planning? Here we create something called planned cost estimates. Planned cost estimate. So what is a planned cost estimate? For example, you are manufacturing a cycle. So you need some components to produce a cycle. For example, you need to manufacture 100 cycles. You need 200 tires, 100 handlebars, 100 frames, etc., etc. So in practice, it may be more or less. For example, if any of the component gets scrapped, it is unusable. It may you may have to increase the quantity, component quantity. Okay, so that is called BOM, bill of material. So quantity of raw materials that is required to manufacture 1 unit of a product. That's called BOM. And same way you have components, all the components, someone need to assemble it. So you need to, for example, each cycle needs 2 man hours. So okay, so that is maintained in something called routing. So you have raw material quantity and you know the activity quantity, that's man hours. Okay, so based on that you create cost estimate. So raw material quantity into plan, activity quantity into price. You can create some planned cost estimates for the material. So what is the use of planned cost estimates? So later you compare actual cost estimates with this planned cost estimate and you find the variance and you analyze how the manufacturing cost is varying from the planned cost estimates. So these planned cost estimates can be a benchmark. So if you want to compare actual cost, you need to have some benchmark prices or costs or whatever. Yeah, give me a second. So here earlier I was talking about standard prices here. So this is used for materials which are manufactured in-house. So here in this case, cycle is manufactured in-house, for example. So you create some planned cost estimate and you release that. When you release that price, it will become standard price. So that standard price is used for material valuations during the month. For example, you sell the cycles during the month. So there should be some accounting entry. So that accounting entry is validated with the standard price. When actual price is calculated at month end, this entry will be revalidated again. The variance is again posted. So you need to understand this cycle. Okay. So here when you release planned cost estimate, they will become standard prices. So how you create planned cost estimates based on BOM, routing, etc. So if you use BOM routing, it is called cost estimate with quantity structure. What is quantity structure? BOM and routing are combinedly called quantity structure. If you don't have this information, if you don't have BOM and routing, so you need to enter the quantities manually. Then it is called cost estimates without quantity structure. This is also called without quantity structure. This is also called unit cost estimate. Okay. So both are going to be covered in this course. Cost estimate with quantity structure and without quantity structure. So BOM and routing, these are PP related master data. So PP consultant will maintain. But here in our course, so we are going to maintain that. Okay. So this is planned cost estimate. So this way, so you create some cost estimate and you release that. That means you are fixing the standard price of the material. So that standard price will be valid for whole year, and every month you calculate actual price and you compare that actual price with the standard price, and you'll analyze the variance, and you take the measure to control the cost based on that. So you have complete picture of what is causing variance, whether raw material is causing variance, whether raw material price is causing variance, or whether you consumed more raw material, whether activity price is causing variance, or whether you consumed more activity, something like that. Okay, so we are going to have complete thing about the cost estimates, planned cost estimates. So we are going to create planned cost estimates and we are going to release them as standard cost estimates in this course. And actual costing, material ledger. So in fact, I can divide this as two material ledgers separately. So actual costing, here actual costing is used to create actual cost estimates. Based on what? Based on actual quantities recorded. Where are these actual quantities recorded? In production order confirmation. So T code CO 11 and that something like that. Other confirmations are also there. Other T codes are also there. During production order confirmation, you record raw material consumption. You record activity consumption. You calculate other overheads, okay, etc., etc. If any direct costs are involved, you record all those costs also with the purchase order and purchase invoice. Okay, so based on those quantities, okay, and actual quantities and actual prices, so actual cost estimates are created. And these actual cost estimates are compared with planned cost estimates and variance is analyzed. So that is the use of actual costing. So we are going to cover PP module. We are going to configure PP module. We are going to maintain master data in PP module. We are going to create production orders. We are going to do all month-end activities of production orders. Okay, before that we will do all the activities of production like confirmation, etc. Okay. So then we do production order settlement finally, which is a month-end activity in PP. After that, we do actual costing process. So most of the data comes from PP module into actual costing. So we are going to do that. We are going to discuss that in detail in the topic. So actual costing is one of the huge topic in the course, around 100 pages, and it takes around 1 week, something like that. And next is material ledger. So in S4 HANA, it is mandatory. S4 HANA material ledger is mandatory. That means if you want to use material management module, you need to configure material ledger as well. You can't even create material master without material ledger. So that's the reason we change the order of the topics in S4 HANA. If you already learned ECC from me, so we did material ledger in book 2 along with actual costing. Now I divide this actual costing and material ledger in 2 different topics. As soon as you configure MM, we configure material ledger. After that, we go for MM end user like creating material master, etc. Okay, so what is the use of material ledger? So material ledger is used to collect all the material movements information and invoices information, price changes information, something like that. And it calculates average price of the month. Okay, practically we are going to see that. And it is also used in 2 ways. Material ledger with multiple validations and material ledger without multiple validations. And this is related with this ledger and currency settings. Okay, so here we can have maximum of three validations. So what is valuation here? You might have used the word, might have heard the terms like legal valuation, group valuation, profit center valuation. They are nothing but these valuations. So legal valuation is default one and mandatory, and others two, group valuation and profit center valuation, are optional. So if you are not using multiple valuation, means there will be only one valuation here, that is legal valuation. Without multiple valuation means there is only one valuation, that is legal valuation. Otherwise, there will be 3 valuations apart from including the legal valuation. There will be 3. Okay, so this is the difference. We are going to see that in the topic material ledger. Okay, and maximum 3 valuations. Yes. Okay, 3 valuations with 2 currencies. This is also important. What is valuation? For example, here if you are using 2 valuations, your stock is valuated differently. For legal valuation point of view, your stock value is different, and from group valuation point of view, your stock value is different. Even product cost is also different. So you need to do product costing separately for legal valuation and separately for group valuation. And also specified currency. So maximum 3 valuations, but only two currencies are possible. That means 2 of the 3 valuations must use the same currency. This is also important. We are going to see this thing in detail in material ledger, in the topic material ledger. Okay. So in the material ledger, actually there is a structure of material ledger. All the material movements are recorded. For example, if it is raw material, so you receive raw materials from vendors, you receive invoices from vendor, you receive goods received from vendors, you receive invoices from vendors. All of them are recorded in material ledger. So goods receipt price is validated. Goods receipt is validated with one price. When you receive the invoice from for the same purchase order or same goods receipt, so if there is any price difference, that is also reflected in material ledger. If you have 10 purchase orders, so there will be 10 goods receipts and 10 invoices receipts. And if invoice price is different, say there is one more line for it. So system will calculate average price of raw material per a month. Okay. Same way if any material is produced in-house, so system will create average price based on the production orders. So you create 10 production orders for a particular product, and you have goods received for each production order. You have costs recorded for each production order. So based on that, system will calculate average price of all the production orders. That will be the actual price of that product in the month. So actual price is calculated on monthly basis. So when I say actual price, it is actual price of the period. Generally, it is month. So we are going to discuss in detail about material ledger in the dedicated topic. Next is cost object controlling. So here we have again 3 components here. We have something called product costing by order, product costing by period, and product costing by sales order. Okay, so this is used in make to stock scenario. This is used in REM, repetitive manufacturing scenario, and this is used in MTO. M2 is what is make to stock? You just manufacture goods and you sell them without any reference to customer's order. You just manufacture goods and you sell them without any reference to sales order. Whether you have orders or not, you just manufacture them. And make to order. Make to order means if you have only orders from the customer, you manufacture goods, otherwise not. And again, this make to order is different types, 2 types in fact. Make to order, complex make to order. Complex make to order means, so when you have order from the customer and customer has specifications. So I want to have this kind of product, this kind of configuration, this kind of components, whatever. For example, if you are a PC seller, you assemble PCs based on the customer requirement. For example, so what storage he wants, what motherboard he wants, what memory he wants, and what processor he wants, etc., etc., what display he wants. So based on that, you will assemble the PC and you deliver it. So each sales order is costed separately in that case. That is complex make to order. And make to order mass production. That means if you have orders from the customers, you will just manufacture goods, but there is no specification from each customer. Okay, in that case, complex make to order, we use product costing by sales order. So make to order based on mass production, we use MTS only, make to stock only. I mean, yeah, it's something similar to that. The same kind, similar kind of costing is used. So in this course, we are going to cover these two, product costing by order and product costing by period. And here in this, all this, in these two, product costing by order and product costing by period, we cover these things like work in process calculation. Yeah, to be detailed, we create production order related activities like production order confirmation, production order month-end activities like overhead calculation, and work in process calculation. Work in process also called result analysis. And we also do variance calculation. And we also do settlement of production orders, etc. So these are all directly related with product cost. Even though this is not part of our job, but here in this course we are going to do that. In the all these activities, confirmation, work in process, variance, settlement, these are all PP related activities. Okay. So this information is directly reflected in product costing. So overhead calculation. Yeah, give me a second. So overhead calculation, result analysis. So what is work in process? For example, at month end, the production order is done completely, you will settle it. Variance is calculated. At month end, production order is not done completely. Raw material is issued, but finished products not reached the inventory. That means these raw materials are lying there as unfinished products. Still they are under processing. So at month end, you have to calculate that quantity of materials which are unfinished. So you have to make an accounting entry for that. That account is called work in process account, which is an asset account. Because costs are incurred, but material not reached. So that unfinished product should be estimated. Otherwise, your balance sheet or P&L is wrong. Okay. Similarly, variance, production order variance is calculated after that settlement is done. After the production order, if you have 10 production orders, all the production orders should be settled. Then actual cost is calculated. And all those things are reflected in material ledger. Okay, so we are going to see that practically. So we have dedicated topic for this one. For each kind of product costing by order, we have one dedicated topic. For REM also, we have one dedicated topic. Okay. Next is COPA. Yeah, here material ledger, there are some changes, like material ledger structure is being changed in S4 HANA. Okay. And cost object controlling, some changes are there. Yeah, like okay, at the end of this session, I'll explain you what are the changes in S4 HANA as far as CO is concerned. Okay. And COPA, we are going to cover costing based COPA and account based COPA. Both are going to be covered. Okay. We are going to see FI to COPA mapping. Okay, internal order to COPA mapping. Okay, and we are going to see things like what is the differences here. Actually, yeah, I'm going to explain the differences at the end of the session in separately. Okay, we are going to see things like, okay, SD to COPA and production order to COPA settlement. So when you do settlement here, it is also settled to COPA. And variance analysis in COPA. That means actually production order variances can be settled. Like there is something called variance categories, where you are analyzing variance between standard price and actual price. The variance can be divided into different categories, like input price variance, input quantity variance, okay, and resource usage variance, etc., etc. For example, input price variance. So the price has changed, raw material price has changed, or activity price has changed. That will reflect in input price variance. Input quantity variance. So more raw material is consumed or less raw material is consumed. It is input quantity variance. And more activity is consumed or less activity is consumed. Or activity price is more or activity price is less. Like that, input price variance or input quantity variance is calculated. Okay. And so these variances can be transferred to COPA also. So under separate record type in costing based COPA. Yeah, here there are many differences. In one more thing here, in S4 HANA, account based COPA is recommended. Yeah, I'm going to explain why in this session. Okay. So all these things are going to be covered, like COPA reporting, COPA planning, etc. are going to be covered. Okay. And one more thing, other things like COPA derivations, COPA top-down distribution, etc. All such small things are there, small topics are there. We are going to discuss them, all of them. And one more thing you need to know, already I told you, if I say COPA, I'm not going to teach COPA in one place. So there is dependency issues. So based on that, COPA is divided into different topics, and the course is designed in such a way that all the dependencies are taken care of. Okay. Next. So yeah, in fact, 80% of the topics are product cost and COPA. If I say this is 3 months course, almost 80 to 90% of the topics are directly related with COPA and product costing. In fact, CO means COPA and product costing. Okay. And profit center accounting also we are going to cover. We are going to assign cost center to profit centers, and we are going to assign materials to profit centers, etc. And we are going to discuss that also. And after this, I'm going to explain you the difference. This is very important. ECC and S4 HANA. So with this, if you are already learned ECC from me, you'll understand what new are you going to learn. I'll take two table here. I'll take ECC on one side, and I'll take S4 on another side. Okay, in S4 HANA, okay, yeah, ledgers I already told you, some changes are there. Okay, we'll start from cost element accounting. So cost element master data, GL master unified. This is a major change. Okay, and both of them are GL accounts, CO line items and FI line items. Both are stored in the same table, that is Actoka. So in order to accommodate these things in COPA, the master data has been unified. So we are going to discuss detail in detail in the course. And next, allocations work in the same way. Next, internal orders, these things are same. There's no difference, in fact. Only back-end changes are there. Allocations. Back-end changes means from front end, how you execute the cycle, they don't have any changes. But when it comes to where the data allocations are stored, the table level data is changed. Okay, and then comes internal order, no changes. Product costing, so a lot of changes are there. Okay, so material ledger is mandatory. If MM is to be used, that means if you want to configure MM, if you want to use MM module, you must configure material ledger also, whereas it was not mandatory. So without material ledger also you can use it. Material ledger not mandatory. Okay, when it comes to actual costing and material, yeah, and there are changes. I cannot give all those changes spontaneously. I am going to explain you when we are doing that thing, like changes like material ledger structure has been changed, how the material ledger columns are displayed, those things have been changed, in fact. Okay, and it comes to actual costing, is simplified. So in the actual costing, there is something called costing run, CKM LCP. In that, the number of flow steps have been reduced. Things like work in progress, settlement, things like single level price determination, multi-level price determination, all of them are deleted. The number of steps have been reduced. So more simpler compared to previous ECC. Okay, so simplified, that means less number of flow steps. This is also one important change. And COPA, yeah, COPA is very important from S4 HANA point of view. Yeah, here account, yeah, generally in ECC, costing based COPA is recommended. Okay, if you don't know what is costing based COPA, account based COPA, don't worry. But if you are already learned ECC from me, you'll know that. Or if you are already working in ECC, working in CO, you'll know that. But if you don't know, we are going to have dedicated topics for them. Okay, so don't worry. So costing based COPA is recommended in ECC. Because of its functionality. So here account based COPA is recommended in S4 HANA. What is the reason? Why it is recommended account costing based COPA in ECC? The reason is there are some additional functionalities. Okay, like because here account based COPA do not have functionalities like variance analysis, like COGS split, okay, like what, predictive analysis. Okay, in account based COPA of ECC, you cannot do variance analysis. For example, variance categories are there. You cannot send them to account based COPA of ECC. And COG split. What is COG? For example, when you send sales, when you create a sales order and delivery billing, it is transferred to costing based COPA, and you can split the standard price into different components like raw material cost, like production cost, etc., depending on your requirement. That complete split analysis is possible in costing based COPA of ECC and not in account based COPA of ECC. So these do not have, these functionalities are missing. Okay, so in S4 HANA these problems have been overcome. Okay, this is the difference. And moreover, account based COPA have one problem compared to one advantage when compared to costing based COPA, that is reconciliation. So account based COPA works on cost elements. So FI posting and account based COPA posting happens at a time based on cost element. So there won't be any reconciliation issue between account based COPA and FI. But in case of costing based COPA, it's a problem. So costing based COPA structure is different. So it has a horizontal structure. For example, for costing based COPA, for one sales order, you have one line. So all the revenue, COGS, discount, whatever, all the costs are posted, are stored in one line or one record in the table. So what happens, for example, delivery and billing happens in different periods. So it is transferred to costing based COPA at the time of billing only. But whereas account based COPA has vertical structure, that means for each it has cost element level information. So for delivery, there is one line item is created in account based COPA. For billing, one line item is created. For discount, one line item is created. So naturally, so when delivery is done, it is posted to account based COPA along with FI. But in costing based COPA, it is not posted to at the time of delivery. So what happens when you do delivery in one period and billing in the next period? So for example, you're at month end. So at the end of the month, you did delivery, and in the beginning of the first week or in the first week of next month, you do billing. So it can cause reconciliation issue between costing based COPA and account based COPA. Costing difference between reconciliation between costing based COPA and FI. So for that reason, but these are some disadvantages also in ECC. Now, what happened in S4 HANA, these disadvantages have been overcome. So all these functionalities are available. At the same time, there is no reconciliation issue account based COPA. So that's the reason account-based COPA is recommended in S4 HANA. Moreover, configuration is also simple compared to costing-based COPA in account-based COPA. Okay, so we are going to discuss that in detail in the course. Next is variance analysis. Means these categories, variance category, just now I was discussing, like price, input price difference, input price variance, input quantity variance, resource usage variance. Resource means in the standard cost estimate you specified one component, but in actual used a different component, so it causes resource usage variance. So like that. And output variance also there. For example, you created a production order for 50 items, but you received only 49 items as in the goods receipt. So it can cause some variance. That is called output variance. So all these information can be transferred to costing-based COPA of ECC. And that same thing is also possible in account-based COPA of S4 HANA. COG split also. So your standard cost, generally you call it as COG. It can be split into different components like raw materials, like production cost, packing charges, etc. And predictive analysis, we call this one as incoming sales order in costing based scenario. For example, generally when the product sales order is done completely, that means delivery and billing is done, it is transferred to costing based COPA. Apart from that, you can also send a send a sales order as soon as it is generated. So this is to analyze the future revenue or future profitability, especially if your production order sales order takes a long time, more than 1 month or so. So you can send the sales order to COPA. So that functionality is also available in account-based COPA of S4 HANA, not in account-based COPA of ECC. So we have dedicated topics for that. So this is something, for example, if I say variance analysis, it is related with product costing. In fact, when you do production order settlement here, so this is going to be transferred to COPA as well, apart from FI. That's why these topics are not independent topics. Same way, like COG split also. This means this comes from SD module, in fact. And standard price is calculated in product costing, product cost planning. So all these three topics are, you need to understand the concept. It's not just, I just want to learn COPA. It's meaningless, in fact. So you need to understand the functionalities in other components and other modules also. Okay. Okay, so these are major changes, in fact, and there are other changes also, like when it comes to, if you look at here. Yeah, so for example, here during this variance settlement, we also do some settings for account-based COPA also. That kind of changes are there. Material ledger changes explained. Yeah, table level changes also there. Yeah, here, yeah, when it comes to costing-based COPA, it works similar. No changes in costing based COPA. That means costing based COPA of ECC and costing based COPA of S4 HANA, both are going to work in the same manner. But account based COPA, there are changes. Okay, table level changes are there. So here, table level, that means here account based COPA is stored COEPT. Whereas it is stored in Agdopa. This is also very important. From backend point of view, there are changes like this. Okay, so there are other things. Whenever that particular thing comes, I'm going to explain here the difference between ECC and S4 HANA in detail. Okay, but the training will be in completely in S4 HANA platform. And okay, so this is, I'm going to share this document also, and I'm going to show you the books actually. Yeah, there are 3 books for CO. So this is book 1. We'll start with CO basic settings, and before that, in fact, we create a company code, then ledger settings. These are all new actually. Ledger settings, yeah, this one, all active ledgers in a company code. We don't do these things in ECC, in fact. Yeah, this one also, CO business, CO document type mapping, because CO documents also stores data in Agdoka, so some document type should be assigned for that. So for that reason, we also do this. And version is mapped to a ledger, in fact. If you have multiple ledgers, so you can have a separate version for each ledger, something like that. So then basic profit center accounting, then cost center accounting. So yeah, so we are going to see how line items are generated in COPA and Agdoka. See also COPA Agdoka document here. Then allocations. So this is a first overview of allocations. Next, assessment, a dedicated topic for assessment. Each topic there will be settings part, and then we enter the data and we check how it is working, and we see the report finally. Okay, so these allocations are almost similar in ECC and S4 HANA. So allocation by periodic reposting, text indirect activity allocation, then direct activity allocation. So every each topic, settings part and user part, finally we see the report to check whether it's working properly or not. Internal orders, real internal orders, and we are going to configure SDMM also. So tax is not directly related with CO, but to make SDMM work, we are going to configure this tax also, the basics tax, and MM after material ledger, then you can do MM end user, like creating material master. So HR is not required. Okay, then SD integration. So at the end, for example, we create sales orders, delivery, and billing. We'll see how it is generating accounting entries, etc. After that, COPA. So many changes are there while doing operating concern. A lot of changes are there here. These are all related with S4 HANA. After configuring COPA basic, so we create sales order, delivery and billing will display how it is being transferred to COPA. We also transfer data from FI to COPA directly, and we do internal order settlement to COPA. So all these three scenarios are covered here in this. Then profit center accounting again, and then some individual COPA topics. And COPA valuation is also going to be covered. These are all individual COPA topics. Then broadcast planning. So we'll make all the settings like CO, okay, CO, end user, like creating material masters, etc. For raw materials, SFGs, FGs, CO end user. Then create cost estimate with quantity structure. Yeah, we also will make settings in PP also. So then PP end user, like creating BOM, routing, work center, etc. Then again CO settings, again end user. So finally we do costing run and we release the cost estimate. So this is book 1, and book 2. COPA valuation using material cost. Okay, this has dependency on product cost planning. After doing product cost planning only, you can do valuation using material cost estimate. So there is a dependency issue. That's why I placed this topic here. After this again, okay, theory apps and these things, predictive analysis in COPA. Then okay, predictive analysis in account-based COPA and costing-based COPA, both are covered. Then comes actual costing. Okay, it's a huge topic. So PP settings, all these things are covered. And we are also going to create production order and doing confirmation here. And around 100 pages for this. Yeah, finally we do costing, actual costing run. And after this, we go for COPA periodic valuation. Again, this has dependency. So this topic should come after the actual costing process. That's the reason I placed it here. Next, these are independent topics like COPA planning, COPA reporting, etc. And these are independent topics, template allocation. Then cost object controlling. So here I explain what is result analysis, what is work in process, what is variance, what is target cost, what is control cost, etc., etc. Then we'll go for forecasting by order. So PP settings. So we do all month-end activities, like all month-end activities of production order, like yeah, like this. So these are all month-end activities of PP, like overhead calculation, work in process calculation, settlement, variance, etc., etc. Okay. Again, we do actual costing process after that, and we'll see how it is reflected in material ledger. Okay. Yeah. And work in process is going to be reversed in the next month. For that reason, we are processing this whole thing in 2 months. We are repeating the same process in 2 months. so that you can see how work in process is reversed and variance is posted. Yeah, these are all month-end activities like revaluation at actual prices, work in process, variance, etc., etc. Okay, this is book 2, and book 3 we have product costing by period. So some 130, 100 pages are there, 70 pages are there for that. This is around 300 pages. So around 800 pages of notes is there for it. Okay. This is completely output oriented. That means I'm going to configure every scenario in all the respective modules, and we are going to do all the necessary, maintain all the necessary master data, and we are going to do all month-end activities, etc. Then we'll see the output. No, actually, you have any questions? I cannot hear. I missed your message, in fact. Yeah, you can't mute me, mute yourself, right? How come? No, hello? 1 second. I can't hear you or what? Yeah, I can hear your voice is some hissing noise from one of you. Yeah, if one of you can call me to my phone, and yeah, Manoj, are you there, Manoj? Manoj or Farfan, you can call me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself, right? It's not an issue. Okay, others? Yeah, any questions now?
So what is the duration of the class?
Yeah. So this is about book. Okay, now we'll come back to. Yeah, so we are going to start regular sessions from July 1st. Okay, and time is 7 to 8 in the morning. 7 to 8 a.m. India time. Okay, IST, and it will be Monday to Saturday. And duration is 3 to 4 months. Yeah, in fact, earlier it was ECC. I used to finish the course in 3 months comfortably with Monday to Friday. But even from Monday to Saturday with the S4 HANA, it's taking more than 3 months, in fact. Ideally, if everything goes well, it will be finished in 3 months. Okay, 3 to 4 months. And yeah, any other questions regarding this? And the same link can be used. Same voting link can be used for regular sessions as well.
Okay. So after every class you will be providing the material and the recordings?
Yeah, I'm going to share the soft copy of the material, in fact. Okay. And
okay. And each class recording we will get, or?
yeah, Recording is provided, but download is disabled.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can view it like lifetime or only till the class is there.
It
Like,
will be available for 6 months or something like that. Once the disk is full, I'm going to delete, but it's not a problem. Once you can again request for it, I can give you on the current batch of that time. I can extend it on request, yes.
and you will provide server access, or we have to take it from outside?
Yeah, server is provided. Actually, it is a third-party service. So they charge 4,000 rupees for 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have your own server, but it is recommended to use this server. This is a dedicated server. It is for me and my students. Actually, generally, if you use other servers, you have all the problems with ledger settings.
Okay.
So you cannot. I tried a lot of servers like that, but there was a problem. So it is recommended to use this server.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions?
So, sir, one more question. So you will cover from basic to advanced, because I have not worked on CO. I don't have much idea. FI, I am comfortable, but CO I have never done.
Yeah, I missed that. In fact, like, yeah, it is like this. Actually, prerequisite for this course is knowledge in FI. But not necessarily CO. So we are not going to discuss how to make postings in FI and that kind of stuff. You should have knowledge in FI, and CO knowledge is not mandatory, not even basic. So we are going to cover right from the basic to advanced, right from creating controlling area, creating cost elements, etc. All of them are going to be covered. Okay. So if you are working as a FI consultant and want to upgrade yourself to CO, you can take this course. If you are already working as a CO consultant but in ECC, still you can take this course so that you can upgrade yourself to S4 HANA.
Okay, sir. One more question, sir. So in like market, FI or CO, which is in more demand? Like I have seen openings for FI, but CO very less people actually
CO,
know
less
in depth,
openings are
right?
there and
So,
less people are also there for CO. In the market, like
okay.
there are a number of people working, I mean, who learned FI or who are working in FI. But CO, there's less people. And generally, if you include these things like product costing and COPA into your resume, so there are more chances that you can get a call in the first place. And you can add simply 5 years to your experience after taking this course, after practicing everything as instructed. You can add 5 years of experience.
Okay. And sir, one more thing, in this costing, they will only use in manufacturing industries or all the industries? Because I have come across subjects where they don't use controlling.
Here in this course, actually, we are using manufacturing scenario, that is PP module. But if you have other things like project systems, up to 70 to 80% will be same. So things like work breakdown structure and those things will be used in PS. But with a little more effort, you can adopt these things. You can apply these things there also. So most of the examples are taken from PP manufacturing scenario.
Okay, so in a service-based, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Rajesh, go ahead.
So I was asking, in a service-based industry, they will not have COPA and product costing?
Yeah, service, there is something called actually general cost object, something called here, if you look into, 1 second.
Sorry to ask so many questions, because I just wanted to clarify.
No problem. Yeah. 1 second. How to display it.
Yeah. Because one of my friend is a CO consultant, so he said if it's a service-based industry, they don't use much of COPA and product costing is not there. That's
not like that, but even for service also we do costing. Yeah, I'll show you. I don't remember the exact
okay.
term. ECC or S4, it doesn't matter. Okay.
Srini, one more point. That can we use the server without using the FI module or something like that?
No, actually, some FI settings need to be done. For example, creating GL
Right,
accounts.
right,
Yeah,
right.
but that's
Understood.
part of this course actually. We are going to do that also.
Okay, okay.
Ledger settings are to be done. We are going to do that because that's a very challenging thing to configure ledgers, even for FI or CO.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
most of the things find problem in configuring ledgers. Most of the students. Okay, here actually, yeah, someone asked about service, right? Okay, controlling cost object controlling. Yeah, here, yeah, you may be talking about intangible goods and services. So these are products. Intangible goods services means so you can do product costing for service also. Okay, but it's not
Okay.
covered in this course. In fact, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Anna, yeah, you can call me. I'll give you all the information to you. Yeah, you ping me after this. I'll give you all the information regarding course content. Yeah, you are, yeah, Gajanan, yeah, who are FI students here, Farhan, Mukesh, Ayan, and okay, I'll share you all the course content, everything to you. Okay, who are FI students. Okay, any more questions? Yeah, you can attend few more sessions before enrolling yourself. Okay, and
Okay.
the next session will be on first, right? Did I mention that?
Yeah, 7
Yeah,
to 8.
July 1st. That is Wednesday. Okay, same link can be used. Okay. Yeah. So okay. So if you have any questions, you can put forward in the next session. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. You are welcome, Abhishek. Yeah. Yeah, and all of you, request to all of you, just share me your Gmail ID here. Okay, in the chat box. Okay, I'll say hi. Just you reply that and share me your Gmail ID. If not shared already. Okay, I will share you the recording of this session and this document also. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, hope everything is clear. If not, so you can put all these any questions in the next session as well. Okay. Yeah. I hope all of you shared your Gmail IDs. Yeah. So shall I close the session? If you shared your Gmail IDs, I'll close the session and yeah. If I have, if you are a old student, don't worry. I have your Gmail IDs. Okay. Yep. Okay. See you on Wednesday. That is July 1st at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 to 8 in the morning. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you on Wednesday. Bye. Thank you.